Hey guys, this is PODFIC, and today we're going to be friends. Definition may vary by Slade Snowflakes. This is Chapter 4. After the press conference, which went suspiciously well, Bruce smiled for the cameras, shook Luthor's hand, and headed home. Since everyone at the manor had watched the press conference, Bruce felt no shame avoiding everyone and heading straight back to bed. However, his afternoon nap was interrupted by his Justice League communicator going off. Not even needing to lower his tone, his sleep-rough voice croaked as he answered, "What?" "Oh, I didn't mean to wake you, Batman. I'm so sorry. But there's something we need to talk about." Of course it was Superman. Of course he would want to talk about the press conference. Talk. Where his voice was apologetic earlier, he can hear Superman's voice take a serious tone. "It's about Bruce Wayne." Of course. "Batman, did you see the press conference?" Bruce grunted into the phone. Taking that as a yes, Superman continued. "While I am not one to tell Mr. Wayne who and who not to be friends with, I am extremely concerned about him getting involved with Luthor. Luthor has to be up to something. With Mr. Wayne being the Justice League's benefactor, we need to be sure Luthor isn't up to anything nefarious." Not surprised by Superman's concern, but currently annoyed by his hypervigilance of anything Luthor, Bruce grumbles, "I'll look into it." He can hear a sigh of relief over the phone. "Really? Thank you. Luthor cannot be trusted. With everything he has done—" Before he can continue, Bruce grunted into the phone. "I said I will look into it," before quickly hanging up. Even though the pillow seems to call to him, luring him back to sleep, if he was supposed to investigate the fake relationship that he just told the world existed, he would need to start assembling one sooner than later. Pulling up the manor's phone records, Bruce hit dial on the most recent number. When he hears the phone call getting picked up on the other end, Bruce doesn't even wait for a response. "Lex, baby! We just must have lunch tomorrow." It took surprisingly little effort to get Luthor to agree to lunch, so the next day Bruce checked his plan. Luthor invited, restaurant booked for the day, paparazzi notified, stolen watch on wrist. With his plan in motion, Bruce's car pulls up in front of La Lune Blue at exactly noon. As Alfred opens his car door, Bruce is blinded by flashing lights of paparazzi. Brucie smiles and poses in front of the cameras. "Oh, you're here for little old me?" Too wrapped up in the flash and questions, he barely notices Luthor walking up behind him until he feels a hand on his elbow. "Wayne, I believe we have a reservation waiting for us." Once again, Brucie takes over, wrapping his arm around Luthor's waist as he smiles at him. "Indeed we do. Well, my darling friends, we must be off." Bruce steers Luthor to the room, surprised by the lack of resistance against the manhandling. Once in the door, they are greeted by the host and escorted to the VIP room. They both sit as the host pours them wine. "Will the Monasteers have their usuals today?" With both men nodding, the host leaves them. Only when they are away from prying eyes does Brucie's fake smile fall off. Not even giving him a second to relax, Luthor frowns. "What do you need, Wayne?" Sighing and taking a sip of his wine, Bruce cuts to the chase. "Superman is concerned that the benefactor of the Justice League is friends with you." Luthor tries to control his face, but Bruce sees a scowl cross his face. "Of course. I told him I'd investigate it, make sure nothing nefarious is going on." At Bruce's words, Luthor gives a deep sigh, exhaustion painted across his face before it vanishes just as quickly as it showed up. "What will be required?" Curious by the expression on Luthor's face, but ignoring it for now, Bruce motions at the table. "Have lunch with me. Smile for the paparazzi downstairs." Luthor's eyebrow rises. "What else?" "We will need a text trail. Since we have time, I figured we would do that right now. I'll alter the times and dates later." Only now does Luthor pick up his wine. He asks, knowingly, "I assume you already have my number?" Not even giving him an answer, Bruce picks up his phone and starts a text. Luthor's phone buzzes and he picks it up. Wayne. "Lexi, I am so glad I didn't delete your number. This is Brucie. Last night at the Turn It charity, you had the most gorgeous watch I have ever seen, but I couldn't recognize the make. You must tell me where I can get one for myself." Luthor seems to be thinking back to the Turn It event, which happened months ago. As Luthor realizes which watch Bruce is referencing, contempt settles on his face as he spies the watch on Bruce's wrist. During the Turn It event, Bruce had realized that Luthor's watch was interfering with his earpiece. In the middle of the event, he had one of the boys steal the watch right off Luthor's wrist. Luthor hadn't made an issue of it going missing, but everyone at the event could tell when his mood went sour. With precise, slow presses, Luthor texted a reply back. Lexi, unfortunately, it is one of a kind. I made it myself. While Bruce figured all of Luthor's tech was handmade, he still feels a little uneasy knowing that he was wearing something of value to Luthor. Wayne, unbelievable! You crafty devil! It really is a work of art. I haven't seen one like it. Anyway, would you be willing to make one for little old me? The contempt look doesn't fade as Luthor reads the text. However, slowly, the look fades away into consideration, before the smallest smirk appears. Lexi, I would consider parting with it, if you give me one of your monthly appointments with Louis Drafty. Were Brucie a real person, that request would be like asking for his firstborn. However, Bruce just smirks over his phone. Wayne, one of my appointments? With the best tailor in the world? You fiend! You ask too much. Luthor raises his eyebrow. Lexi, you cannot fool me, Wayne. I know for a fact you have a draftee booked once a month for the next 20 years. I know you have a spot to spare. As their first course is delivered to their table, Bruce texts back. Wayne, but is a draftee really worth your watch? Luthor is now texting with one hand as he starts to eat. Lexi, I think I'll take your February spot. I need a new suit for the spring. Wayne, wasn't your last suit destroyed because of that misunderstanding with the Superman? Luthor glares over his bisque. Lexi, yes. Wayne, oh, don't be like that. He means well. Lexi, he can fall in a well for all I care. That was my favorite suit. Bruce tries not to snort into his wine glass, finding it hard not to enjoy the moment. Bruce finds himself sharing a little secret. There was one time where he was swallowed by a galactic whale. He can see that Luthor is startled by the shared secret. He didn't want to hurt it, so he had to force it to throw him up. A grin spreads across Luthor's face. He's always such a goody two-shoes. Grinning himself, Bruce turns back to his phone. Wayne, such a sad death for such a fine suit. You'll have my condolences as well as my February spot. Your suit desired better. Lexi, thank you. I'll send the watch momentarily. Having hit a lull in the conversation, Bruce starts a new text thread, sending a series of texts in a row. Wayne, Lexi, baby, don't hate me. I know that I said I'd be going to your opening party, but I can't make it. I'm sorry. Please forgive me, please. Wayne, Lexi? Wayne, Lexi, you wound me. Your words cut me to the quick, not nice at all. And you said that to the nasty little lady from the planet. You knew she'd post that everywhere. I thought we were friends. It only takes a few seconds for Luthor to remember what Bruce is referencing before Luthor is smirking at his phone. Lexi, we aren't friends. Wayne, but, I gave you my February spot. Draftee. Lexi, fine, I'm sorry. It was rather harsh. To make it up to you, I know you are interested in the Greek vase the O's gallery will be auctioning off. I may be willing to let you top bid. It was Bruce's turn to frown as he remembers that night at the auction. Luthor has been betting heavily on one of the antique vases, so thinking that the vase was some part of a nefarious plan, Bruce had tripled Luthor's bet, startling the man so much that Bruce had won the bid before Luthor could even rebid. In the end, it had turned out to be a very expensive, yet very plain Greek vase. Wayne, deal! How'd you know? Is it not gorgeous? I know just where to put it, over my mantle. Wayne, it didn't fit. Avi made me donate it. Silence settled between them as Luthor frowns at the text. The silence hangs to the point that Bruce is about to start another text. Without looking away from his phone, Luthor quietly speaks. The vase was said to have the first known depiction of Alexander the Great. I had wanted that piece for my collection for quite a while. I even had a room in my collection made just for it. He stops to take a sip of wine. Though, for all the places for it to go, I do approve of the Martha Wayne Art Museum. They have always been known for their exceptional care of antique artifacts. Bruce felt like he should apologize, but the moment is interrupted by the host coming to remove their plates. Once they are left alone, Bruce nods to Luthor's phone. You should start the next one. Luthor stalls for a second, then starts texting. Lexi, since you claim to be my friend, would you please tell the alien to stop destroying my labs? I am tired of replacing roofs. Wayne, I wish I had his number. I'd give him all kinds of calls. but even being the big JL benefactor, I couldn't get his phone number. I'd say all you have to do is call his name and he'd show up, but I did that once and got a stern talking to because I wasn't actually in trouble. As Luthor reads the text, he tilts his head and then turns to Bruce seriously. You actually did that? Bruce nods, smiling. A few times. Whenever the Superman gets on my nerves, I let Brucie fuck with him. He gets too flustered when it comes to come-ons. Almost like he was startled, Luthor laughs a small, quick guffaw. He shakes his head, a look of almost endearment across his face. He has always been such a prude. Lexi, I will not justify that with a response. Wayne, you just did. As the main core shows up, Luthor starts the next text. Lexi, Wayne, I know you'll be crashing my birthday party, but would you be so kind as to adhere to the rules? Do not consume/destroy more than 3 bottles of champagne. Do not flirt with Mercy, and do not wander into the kitchen again. Bruce looked sheepishly over at Luthor. He had done all of those things within an hour. Luthor meets his eyes and smirks. Lexi, I thought I was asking so little. I apparently was wrong. However, I forgive your transgressions, only because seeing you knock the waiter's tray of drinks into Mrs. Small did bring me joy. Wayne, always willing to serve. Get it? Serve. Zest he was a server. I'm so damn funny. Lexi, are you having a stroke? Wayne, what? No. Drop my phone. Screen all fucked up. Luthor grimaced at the text. That is nauseating. Bruce shrugs. Mercy broke my phone that night when I tried to get a selfie with her. Luthor paused with his fork to his mouth. Only the phone? Bruce shrugged. And 2 fingers. Luthor's reply was a shark's grin. Good girl. In retaliation, Bruce started typing. Wayne, hey Lexi, borrowing your Matarazzi. Thanks, bye! Luthor's grin turned into a glare. That was you? With a look of satisfaction, Bruce gave a nonchalant shrug. It was for a good cause. Luthor starts to text, but never takes his glare off of Bruce. Lexi, I will be filing a stolen report. Lexi, Wayne, why was my Maserati found in the bottom of Gotham Harbor? Refusing to break eye contact, Bruce sheepishly texts back. Wayne, I don't remember? Barely taking the time to look at his screen, Luthor's eyes glanced down and then back up, his glare intensifying, his motions becoming more aggressive as he punches the next text into his phone. Lexi, I wish you drowned with it. Wayne, favorite car too? Luthor doesn't even bother texting back, keeping his eyes locked on Bruce. Wayne, I'll give you my March spot too? When his phone pings, Luthor looks down and pauses. While his glare doesn't falter, an arched eyebrow indicates his consideration. Luthor breathes out a low, long breath through his nose before he starts to text. Lexi, the least you can do. To ease the moment, Bruce signals the host to bring dessert, even though they haven't finished their main course. As the plates are cleared, Luthor seems to release his anger. By the time dessert is served and the host is left, Luthor is the one to start the next text. Lexi, I wanted to say this to your face, but thought it rude. However, the tie you wore last night has since given me night terrors. I would like you to burn it. Wayne, no, it was a Father's Day gift. I shall treasure it forever. Bruce can tell he's curious as Luthor leans forward a little. Who got it for you? Tim. Luthor smirks as he leans back. Glad I'm not getting him in the divorce. His fashion sense is horrendous. Bruce freezes. Of course, if Lex knows that Bruce is Batman, he would know who the Bat family is. Bruce takes a breath. The fact that Lex knows the boys' identities needs to be processed later. So wrapped up in trying to overlook the fact, Bruce can feel his brain crashing to a halt, caught in another thought. When did Luthor just become Lex? Forcing his mouth to move, Bruce replies, I want to be offended on his behalf? You are not wrong. There's a calculating look on Lex's face, like he's trying to figure out what caused the stunted reply. Either he figured it out, or something else entirely. Lex gives Bruce a secretive smile as he starts to text. Lexi, Wayne, you have children. Are robots still acceptable gifts? This seems to reboot Bruce's brain, because he instantly remembers an issue the Justice League had to deal with a few weeks ago. A rampaging mech that turned out to be controlled by a 12-year-old boy. At the time, Lex claimed it was just a gift. However, no one in the Justice League believed it wasn't nefarious. Due to the recent events and the current personal debacle in his head, it took a bit more for him to get into the Brucie mindset. Wayne. Oh yeah, everyone loves robots and mechs. Make sure it has all the bells and whistles. You can never have enough bells and whistles. Lex nods like Bruce's text was universal knowledge. Lexi. You are correct. He loved the mech. Lexi. You were wrong. There can be too many bells and whistles. And flamethrowers. At this point, Bruce's curiosity gets the best of him. Who was the kid again? Lex gives a small, genuine smile. Seth, my secretary's kid. Bruce is taken aback by the candid response. He starts talking but is unable to finish his sentence. You don't seem the type to... Lex looks slightly offended. To know my secretary and her kid? To get him a gift for his birthday? What did you get Janet's girl this year? The mental wall that Bruce hit earlier reappears as he realizes that Lex knows even more about him than expected. Let's also process the fact that Lex knows that info as well, later. A scholarship? Lex nods again like that was the expected answer. Bruce tries not to twitch. I already gave Seth 2. He's a smart kid. And with the way he handled your lot crashing his party and destroying his birthday gift, I might just have to make the kid my heir. He's got a head for dealing with people fucking hip as shit. As he hears the affection in Lex's voice, and now understanding both sides of the story, Bruce starts to feel like maybe he's the villain in this particular story. With his phone in his lap, Bruce gently texts back. Wayne, I saw it in the news. That is one sweet-ass mech. The kid is so lucky. Wayne, I'm sorry I got squashed. Wayne, will you let me pay for the next one? Lex looks contemplatively at his phone, but before he could reply, his alarm goes off. In a blink of an eye, Luthor, the corporate man, emerges. I must get back to the office. Will this be enough? Almost disappointed, Bruce slowly nods. Yes, thank you for your time. Luthor nods his head, gets up, and walks away, leaving Bruce to process everything that happened. In a daze, Bruce slowly starts texting. Wayne, Lexi, thanks for the lunch. I had a great time. Let's do it again real soon. Bruce gets up, pays the bill, and calls Alfred to bring the car around. When he gets to the car, he receives a text. Lexi, I agree. Wayne, to both? Lexi, to both. Alright guys, and that is the end of chapter 4 of Friends. Definition may vary by slight snowflakes. I hope you guys liked it and see you next chapter.